Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jordan if you're new here, and today's video I thought we would do a March reading wrap up because it is officially at the beginning of April and I read 10 books in March, so I want to talk about them. Also, I got a mic and I'm very excited about it. I kind of want to hold it because that just seems fun, and I love watching videos where people are holding a mic. I don't know. We're going to try holding it. Okay, so the first book I actually don't have a physical copy of, but the first book that I read this month is Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider. This book, I believe I rated 3.75 stars. So let me see if I can remember what it's about. Okay, so there's a female main character named Bren, and the male main character, his name is Acker, I believe. And from what I remember, she lives with this group of people that have basically been shunned to the middle of the ocean. I don't know. They just like essentially built a city in the middle of the ocean, and they've been banned by the people on land. And essentially, shit hits the fan when they go to, because I think once a year they have this agreement where they can go to land or something like that, and the graduates can go. Okay, I'm really not making sense. Um, this is actually really, let me just pull up the synopsis. You know what? Because this is not going to go well. Hold on. Summary, here we go. So, Bryn has spent the better part of her life waiting for the chance to attend the annual market hosted by the Kenta, the very same people who exiled the Alaha to live a life over the sea. A rite of passage for all young guards, she's not sure what to expect from it, but breaking a century-long peace treaty certainly isn't on her map. Neither is the encounter with an enemy soldier. Returning home to Alaha, she's confronted with the aftermath of the day's events. The future is uncertain as a threat of hunger looms over the people. With rumors of a growing rebellion, Bran and her closest friends promise to stick together. When an unexpected visitor arrives, Bran's loyalty will be tested as she learns of a world of magic and treachery. Once her enemy, always her enemy, right? But the dark, knowing eyes of a stranger make her question everything, including her heart. Yeah, essentially, it's this like fantasy quest book, is the best way to put it, because she discovers some truths and some things, and so she has to go and travel to land and do shit. I don't know. I'm really struggling explaining this plot. Maybe that's why I rated it 3.75 stars. I honestly enjoyed it. I was interested in it and I wanted to keep reading it. I think Acker was just, I think, not a consistent character, like personality wise. I felt like he just like switched up and changed halfway through the book. And so I was really struggling to like stick with him and root for him. But I will say there was a crazy, crazy cliffhanger at the end. And because of that, I am excited for book two and I want to see where it goes. I definitely do recommend the book, but I think just the MMC annoyed me, unfortunately. So that's why I didn't rate it super high. Okay. And then after that, I read Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison. This book is so good. I rated it 5 stars. This is for my girlies with internal rage, or yeah, who are just angry. So essentially, it follows Rory Morris. She is the main character, and she goes back home into the town she grew up in to visit her sister because her sister is pregnant and she wants to help take care of her. One night, when she's driving home from a bar, she hits something with her car. And so she gets out because she was worried that it was an animal. And she ends up getting bitten by a werewolf. Also, this is all in the back, I promise. I'm not spoiling it. But she ends up getting bitten by a werewolf, and the rest of the book is essentially her navigating becoming a werewolf and the changes that that brings and introduces into her life. I think what I love about this book so much is that it really focuses on how her body changes and how it makes her feel, because as a woman, she feels like her body is changing and things are happening to it without her permission. And so she's just angry. She's angry at the world, just at her situation. It tells a really good story of not having control of your body sometimes and it doing things without you wanting it to. And I don't even know if I'm doing the description justice, but genuinely, this book was so moving and so incredible. I genuinely think that like all women should read this because it tells such an interesting story about our bodies and about rage and about acceptance and love. Yeah, it was really good. I remember highlighting and annotating so many things in this book, and there's actually one quote that I took a photo of that I have as my wallpaper background, and it says, "When you're sad, you cry. When you're happy, you smile. You laugh. But what do you do when you're angry? Not just mad, but filled with this ugly, consuming rage. And the thing is, women aren't allowed to be angry. Nobody likes a mad woman. They're crazy, irrational, obnoxious, shrill." I definitely want to reread this probably around like Halloween, October time, because this is just a really good spooky like, fall book. So I highly, highly, highly recommend this one. Oh, so good. After that, I listened to Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss. I don't know. This book, now let me preface this. This book I listened to on Spotify. So I listened to the audiobook, and genuinely I think that is the only way I recommend it because I don't know if I would have enjoyed this if I would have read it. This is a very character driven book rather than plot heavy, I would say. Like there is a plot for sure. It is very dramatic, but a lot of the book is we're just inside the main character's head and just going through the day to day with her. Okay, so this book is like a take on like Greek mythology. And the main character is Alexis. She grows up in the human world and essentially she finds out that she is half Spartan. So she's immediately sent to the land where the Spartans live, which I don't actually know where that is. She's sent to live amongst the Spartans and she's forced to enter this like initiation test called the Crucible. So the book essentially takes her through the Crucible and her struggling with, you know, her new identity and these new circumstances and all these new people, and she's just like really mad and really frustrated, but she goes through it anyways. And I loved the audiobook because it was so funny. Her inner monologue absolutely killed me. It's been almost a month since I listened to this and I still think about it all the time. Like I genuinely miss the audiobook. It was really long and I could have listened to like 10 more hours of it. Like I was just so entertained because Alexis was so funny and the audiobook narrator did such a good job of sounding like sarcastic or snarky or tired, witty, all all the above. It was just so good. I will say this is a why choose romance, which I didn't know until I'd already started it. But however, I think if you're maybe curious to see if you would like it, I would recommend this book because it's not very spicy. So I think this would be a good intro into that. It's the first and only that I've read or listened to, but regardless, I really enjoyed it. I rated it 4 stars. It was a fun time. I have a long commute to work sometimes, so I love a good audiobook that can keep my attention and make me laugh, and that one was perfect. Okay, and then next I started Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. Yeah. This book I ended up rating 4 stars. I genuinely enjoyed it. I just thought for me it was a little long than I would have personally preferred. I think that might just be a personal problem because I think I was in a small reading slump, and reading a long book when you're in a reading slump just isn't great because you kind of just feel like you want it to be over. That's kind of how I felt with this book. I will say the writing was really, really good and I enjoyed the story. And I think there's a second book. I think there's 2 books, and the sequel is technically like an interconnected standalone, so I don't have to pick up the second one, but I think I will. So the 2 main characters in this one are the Prince of Envy and Camilla. This is another book similar to Metal Slinger where the characters know things that we don't know, and like we slowly but surely discover and figure it out. We know there's going to be a plot twist or there are going to be things uncovered. That was what happened in this one as well. There definitely was a plot twist that I wasn't expecting, but I think it added to the story. I think my only thing is that sometimes I struggle when we know that the characters know something and they hint at it to the reader, but they're very vague about it. And so because of that, it's very difficult to like paint a picture in your head or get the complete picture because you're just trying to understand the missing pieces that are hinted at, and so you struggle to like really get into it. That's kind of how I felt, which is why I didn't rate it 5 stars, because I found myself getting confused sometimes. So essentially, Camilla is a painter, and I, fantasy books, okay, fantasy books are so hard to explain. I don't know if this is just a me problem. I don't know why I'm struggling to explain plots today. Essentially, there is this game that the Prince of Envy has entered because we know that he is trying to fix his kingdom that is falling, because it's Throne of the Fallen. He's entered this game because if he wins, he believes that he can like save his kingdom and help his people. The game leads him to this painter in the mortal world named Camilla. They kind of end up working together in this game and learning a lot about each other, you know, falling for each other. And I thought that that was really interesting. I love a little like game or high stakes situation in a book. So I really liked that element of it. Like I said, I just felt like it was a little bit too long for me personally. But regardless, I still had a fun time with this one. Glad that I finally read it because it has been on my shelf for so long. And the book is so beautiful. Like, can we just talk about that for a second? The sprayed edges. And then after that, I read Daydream by Hannah Grace, which I don't have with me because I rented it, because I borrowed it from the library. One of my previous vlogs, I actually read and talked about this book in it. So you might already know my thoughts, but I really, 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 really loved this book. This was a 5-star read for me. So this book is about Henry and Hallie. This is just like your typical college sports romance. And Henry is neurodivergent, I would say, and he is just a big sweetheart who says what's on his mind and sometimes struggles with social situations and, you know, certain nuances that come with socializing. But he is just so wholesome and so amazing. He and Hallie meet because he accidentally stumbles in on one of her book clubs. Hallie was just the sweetest little FMC ever. She wants to be an author. She loves reading. She wears like Taylor Swift cardigans. She bakes for fun. I loved her so much. And after her and Henry meet, they develop a friendship first, and they really develop this connection. It was such a wholesome, sweet romance novel. I really enjoyed it. I think one thing that I loved about it is that there was no miscommunication trope, because like I said about Henry, he always says what's on his mind, and so that really helped their friendship and then relationship, because he was just very upfront with her, and I think she respected that, and so there was no miscommunication trope. Thank goodness. I loved that so much. This was just a very wholesome and real romance novel that wasn't insta lovey, and there wasn't drama just for the sake of drama. It was so good. I loved it. This is the second Hannah Grace romance novel that I've read, and I think I gave Icebreaker 4 stars maybe. I'm just really enjoying the books of hers that I've read so far. Okay, so after Daydream, I decided to pick up the Magnolia Parks series, and I binged all 5 books before the month ended. I will say, since my last vlog, I ended up getting the original paperback covers because these editions are absolutely stunning. And before I finished the series, I knew I needed them on my shelf. They are just so pretty. This is the first one. And I mean, they're all really pretty. Let me show you. My favorite is this one, Daisy Hates the Great Undoing cover. Like, hello? When I die, I think I want to be buried with this book. Like, I don't think I'm kidding. Like, genuinely. It's so good. I'm also wearing my Julian Hates t-shirt. At the bottom it says, "In Another Life." Yeah, so good. So good. Can I also be buried in this t-shirt actually, please? That would be great. I have all 5 books here with me, but I don't think I'm going to go through each one because I have 2 vlogs on my channel where I literally read and talk about each one. But yeah, let me show you some more covers. This one is The Long Way Home. Stunning. Hello. Daisy Hates. This one is fun. Love her. All the daisies on the cover. Oh, this book is heavy. And this is Into the Dark. Look at Miss Magnolia. Love her. So this series was an absolutely incredible 5 stars, god tier series for me. Genuinely, this is easily in my top 3 series that I've read. Love it. So good. I do plan on getting 2 or 3 tattoos for it, and I'm actually expecting one more t-shirt in the mail because I don't know how to be low key or cool about this. So it's all or nothing. So yeah, I'm obsessed. So I'm going crazy. I don't even know what to say. Okay, I'll give a very brief rundown through the series and why I love it. But if you want my full thoughts and just me really diving into each book, I would recommend to go watch my last 2 vlogs. I think they're pretty good. I had fun making them. Essentially, Magnolia Parks follows this friend group that live in London, and they are like the rich elite people in London. They make so much money. Their every move is watched. They just are so well known. And this is a very character driven series, so there's not really specific plot points that I can kind of explain. I think all I can really tell you is that the theme of this series is how many loves do you get in a lifetime. And so it really, oh my gosh, I need to take a breath. I'm talking so much. Sorry. It focuses on Magnolia and BJ, and they have their own books. So if you see a book that says like Magnolia Parks, it's following her and BJ. It's in their point of view. And then if you see a Daisy Hates book, it follows Daisy, Julian, and Christian, and it's in their point of views. Julian is Daisy's love interest, and then, no, let me just try that again. Julian is Daisy's brother, and Christian is Daisy's love interest. There we go. And essentially, these books follow them and their decisions, their not so great choices that they make, just the people that they love, and their day to day lives. And it essentially just follows them and their like personal lives, but also just their romantic lives. The first 2 are so drama. Like so drama, so toxic. The third one has the elements of it, and then I would say the last 2 are really just so gut wrenching and so touching and really just pull on your heartstrings. I would say if you've only read the first book, or maybe you're trying to get through the second one, I would just keep reading because this series is so incredible, and before you know it, you are so invested in these characters and this life. And I think it's important to mention the writing. Jessa Hastings is so incredible, and no one could have done it like she did it in these books. Truly, her ability to make you feel what these characters are feeling and to make you feel like these characters are real, it's just incredible. Yeah, I feel like I could probably ramble and yap and talk about this series for 10 more minutes, but I'm not going to. I think I'm just going to leave it at that this was a God tier series for me. And then I binged it in like a week and a half. It was so good. So yeah, those were all of the 10 books that I read this month. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I don't know why words and sentences are so hard for me today, but we did it. I made it through. So for a little recap, why don't we? I read 10 books this month. 6 of them were 5 stars, which is crazy, but also not considering that I read Magnolia Parks. I read 4,536 pages, and then the Blood of Hercules audiobook was almost 16 hours. My favorite book was Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, and then my favorite quote was from the same book, and it's Julian saying, "In another life, yeah," and it's Magnolia responding with, "I'll meet you there." So yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video and for listening to me ramble on and on. As always, I really appreciate any and all support that I get from you guys, and I will see you guys in next week's video. Bye.